Open your heart, everyone. It's Deep Dive Zone, a Sonic review series for fans of all shapes and sizes. I'm your host, Devin, joined as always by my buddies Lauren, Bruce, and Sid. And guys, we have finished all of the main campaigns of Sonic Adventure, and we only have one story left. I called it the final story last time, but it's actually called the Super Sonic story.
Yeah, I've done this before, so it wasn't the worst thing ever, but I don't know. It's always sort of a mixed bag when a game makes you go through like such drudgery just to get the true ending. I kind of dig it because it does make it feel earned, but I kind of hate it because by the time you get there, the game's been kind of soured.
A little bit.
If each character had
Yeah.
if each character had more unique stages and I didn't have to do Big the Cat, I don't think it would bother me at all. Because, we keep bringing up Adventure 2, and Adventure 2 doesn't feel like a problem for me at all, because you just do two sides of one story.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Adventure 2 intermixes the characters in a single story.
Yeah, I suppose if you had to see the same cutscenes with Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Eggman, Shadow, and Rouge in that game, that would be lame.
Yeah, the difference
Yeah.
is two stories versus six, six.
Right.
Well, in this case, it really is not much. Super Sonic is not a new playable character or a new gameplay style, it is simply the final piece of the puzzle. So most of it is cutscenes and just moving through the overworld until the final boss.
This was what finally sealed the deal of me not liking the overworlds.
Oh boy, yes. I find it funny that on the character selection screen, Super Sonic is just a question mark, first of all. But second of all, when you select him, he says,
I mean,
Like,
this is
what?
catchphrase.
I guess.
yeah.
I never knew.
Yeah,
They're
I
gonna
mean,
make it a thing, and then they realized it sucked.
That's true, it does suck. But yes, so the story here is that Chaos is taking charge for himself. He attacks Eggman and steals most of the emeralds for himself.
Which, who could have seen that coming?
Well,
Yeah.
not me, because as I commented when we covered Knuckles' story, I'm like, oh, Knuckles just left the Chaos Emeralds behind. No, he actually didn't. Psych, retcon moment. Nah, he actually did bring them all with the Master Emerald. We just didn't show you in his story. But they're there now. Like, I thought Chaos still had the Chaos Emeralds. But no, he just had to come steal them back, like, what, 5 minutes later or something?
Yeah, Chaos is ruthlessly efficient here. I guess he just finally got tired of being ordered around.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's exactly what the case is.
Well, that is
What I'm-
one of my questions, is why did he decide to betray Eggman now of all times? It's so random.
I mean,
I guess since Eggman was getting the emeralds for him, he thought they were collaborating.
yeah, exactly.
But Eggman gave up on him, that's why.
That makes sense. Yeah, that does make sense.
I want to point out here, so I'm not sure why exactly Angel Island falls again, because the emerald's together.
Yes, I was wondering that.
So Knuckles literally says that, like, as if it's going to be answered. And
And
then
it never
I'm just
is.
now realizing it doesn't get answered.
Not only does it not get answered, we don't see Angel Island go back up into the sky at the end of this game.
It's stuck in the ground now.
Well, Adventure 2, the Master Emerald is grounded. So, maybe it's
that's
just down
true.
now.
Well,
Yeah.
see, if not for much, much later games and comics, you almost could say that Angel Island is just permanently on the ground. And if you said that, and especially with how Knuckles just carries the emerald around with him in Adventure 2, you could say that Knuckles, whenever he's not there, actually has the emerald with him. It would almost be kind of workable, but it's not. What I want to know is how Sonic, who is sleeping under a tree right next to it, does not hear Angel Island crash into the mainland next
He's
to
a
him.
heavy sleeper, man. Don't make fun of him.
Yeah,
He had earbuds
running
in.
around all day.
Oh, he had
Yeah.
AirPods, yeah.
Yeah.
His AirPods, and he was really tired, so of course he was sleeping.
I'd like to mention that when he's lazing around, he says, maybe I'll take another vacation somewhere. So, Devin, I'm sorry about your whole cancel theory, but Sonic was just on vacation.
Because
I
he got
guess was just on
canceled.
vacation.
Oh, a
Oh.
vacation because you got canceled. You know what? You're right. They're not mutually
Yeah, well, yeah.
exclusive.
I mean, he was just waiting for the people to stop, for Twitter to stop caring, so he can come back.
Well, we've been
Yeah.
over this. He was on an
Which
anime
happens in
show
like
and
5
training
minutes
arc.
usually. Well, yeah, of course, but
Okay.
that's not as funny.
Maybe his current training arc is to learn Japanese. because when Sonic's sleeping under this tree, he yawns, and even in the English version, you can tell that it's definitely the Japanese voice actor yawning.
Well, in the next game, characters would start speaking Japanese, so I think they're all going to take it up as a hobby.
Yeah. But you have to go up to the Emerald Altar and go sort of off to the side of the Emerald Altar. I feel like this is the thing that I've seen the most people miss
Oh
in
yeah.
their playthroughs of the game, because you have to find the beat up Eggman.
He's very tiny.
Surprisingly.
Yeah,
Yes, very surprisingly small.
they could have just made the
Yeah,
trigger.
I think it took
when
me
you
like
get to
20
the
minutes to
island.
figure out. Yes, the trigger should have just been when you cross the bridge to the island.
Yeah, I had to go back and forth to the island so many times to actually find
Yeah,
Eggman.
I explored the master Emerald Shrine. Then I went back and went to Station Square.
Okay,
Then I
so
came back.
why the heck is Sonic's entire adventure map open in the Supersonic story?
It's not mission mode. Yeah.
Yeah, they
may
could
not have been the right
blocked
call
it off
there,
a little
guys.
bit.
But yes, so Sonic gets up, he finds Eggman and Knuckles all like, oh, Chaos was here, he took the emeralds, oh no. And we are treated to the final Tikal flashback, which sort of explains some of what was going on. The culmination of everything, which is that Pachacamac and his men attack the Emerald Altar, wounding Tikal and a bunch of Chow, which brings out the Rage of Chaos, who is decides to judge all of the Echidnanity for their hubris by killing them.
As you do.
That's fair enough.
Don't mess with God; they will smite you.
And I assume at some point he also lifted Angel Island up into the sky, because I don't know how else that would have happened.
You know
that
what?
happened naturally.
That could be the reason, actually, that Angel Island is on the ground. Perhaps Chaos actually is the final piece that raises Angel Island up. And so when they're out of the Emerald, I guess it can raise if they feel like it. But when they're angry or whatever, then they can crash it to the ground. Well, let's see. They do it before they arrive and steal the Chaos Emerald. So I think it was as a diversion. They did it on purpose. And then only later at the end when everything gets fixed, and then it works again as normal.
Maybe. So, one of the things that's interesting, I don't know if it's this cutscene, and I think it's only in the Japanese version, and I don't even remember if the PC mods have it, but in some version of this game, when Chaos gets angry, he actually makes chow noises.
Oh.
Which makes sense, because Chaos was originally a chow. It is the power of the
Right.
Master Emerald that evolved them, or as we now know, devolved them into the form that we know.
Right.
Right.
And so I say that Chaos wiped out the Echidnas, and that's true, but he did not wipe out all of them, because obviously there must have been a stable population enough for them to keep being alive for a few hundred years before Knuckles was the last one. I guess he set them on a path of dwindling numbers.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and I don't want to suddenly come off as praising to Penders, but that is one thing the comics explain the games really don't. I never understood how is Knuckles just on their own the very last one? That doesn't make any sense. And do they ever explain that?
If Knuckles had a parental figure who did die, just dwindling populations from war and disease being isolated on a floating island, that would make sense. But it seems like Knuckles leaving the island is not like a big difficult thing physically. So yeah, I don't know what wiped them out for good. I don't even know if Knuckles knew his parents.
It's just odd that they never gone into that.
I assume he was not canonically born from an egg in the main game timeline, but I don't know.
I mean, he isn't a kid, no.
Yeah, but I mean, he also has teeth, which real echidnas don't.
He's also a fictional kid, no.
So he doesn't need to be born from an egg. This is a circular argument. Anyway, Sonic and Tails go back down to the Mystic Ruins forest area to grab the last emerald from the Tornado 2. I don't know how they knew it was there, because Big took it. I guess they just let him have it.
I mean, wouldn't you?
It's not that complicated. Probably Big just is like, oh, I took the plane at some point, or Tails saw it, or whatever. I don't know.
I'm just imagining, like,
maybe it has a tracking device built in.
Yeah, like they track the Tornado 2, and then they go down to it, and then Big like looms over them, and he's like, "Can I help you?" And they're like, no, you can keep it. Don't worry about us, haha."
Yeah, we're just here for the propeller cap because you don't know what it is.
But they just barely miss it. Chaos grabs the last emerald, and he becomes the giant kaiju monster that we saw from the opening all those episodes ago.
Oh, heck yeah. Let me just
Yeah,
say,
he
Perfect
looks
Chaos.
cool.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
Yeah, I really like how Perfect Chaos looks.
I am a
Yeah,
sucker
it's a
for
shame I don't like much else about
good
him.
old Leviathans. And the design has a very unsettling sort of twist to it. I mean, big old water monster that's already pretty freaky, and I'm not sure if this is just like the game being like sort of primitive in its design or if this was on purpose, but the way their mouth kind of like flops open is just so eerie.
It's
Also, the
very
lizard eyes.
It's
it's a
like
little weird.
jello. It's weird, but it's
Well, and
awesome.
here in flooded Station Square, he blends into the water effects way better, especially on the Dreamcast graphics, but way better than he does with any other water in the game. So it actually
So,
like looks good.
speaking of the water, I'd like to point out, where did this water come from?
I
It,
guess,
it came from the sewer, which
yeah.
means he's made of poop water.
Well, we've seen the sewers in Emerald Coast. They're surprisingly sanitary.
Yeah, but this isn't Emerald Coast. This is Station Square. This is the big city.
Did I
I
say
mean,
Emerald
we
Coast
don't
when I
even
meant
know
Station
the
Square?
NPCs poop, honestly.
Oh God, I don't want to think about that.
Okay, so are you really saying that God can't just purify the water?
Yes.
He can make the Mystic Ruins basin water evil, so I don't see why not.
No, you have to use water purification to purify the water. You can't use magic. It
Well,
must be science.
It is
what's
beyond
weirder
God's
than
abilities.
what's weirder than the poop god idea is the fact that canonically, despite flooding the entire city, 0 people die in this incident.
Okay, yeah,
I
but I
don't
think that's
believe
just
that for a second. Who
I think that's just
says?
to make the kids feel happy.
It's a state. I think Izuka said it, but somebody official from Sonic Team. And technically, if you look at the pre-rendered sequence where Chaos floods the city, you see people on the street, water comes up from the sewers, but the moment that it's like crashing out and like flooding the
There's no
place,
water.
streets
There's
are
no
just
one else
empty.
there.
No humans there.
So I can easily explain that because they didn't want to be graphic and raise the rating.
No, that
But
would have been funny.
personally, I don't take the word of an author on its own unless it's also supported by the work. So I find that ridiculous.
I
All right,
mean,
the author
yeah,
is
I
dead.
agree. Well, also, all that water busting out of the massive skyscrapers, you can't escape from them all that fast. So clearly, someone had to drown.
It is extremely improbable.
I think that's just SEGA covering their asses.
Oh,
Gun has
100%.
developed teleportation technology
No,
at
that's
various
What's
points.
gun?
I
Yeah,
mean,
we
it would still be
haven't
less people
done
than that
yet.
Cream killed, though.
True, true.
We don't know what gun is yet, Devin.
Gun doesn't exist. I don't know what you're talking
Maybe
about.
Gun is secret right now. Maybe they secretly
Gun is the
saved.
friends we made along the way.
All right, all
Speaking
right.
of the friends we made along the way, one we didn't make was Dr. Eggman. But he doesn't care. He shows up anyway.
I think he's just angry at Chaos for betraying him. I don't think he gives a shit about Station Square.
100% that's what it is.
Okay,
Actually,
but he would absolutely save it out of spite.
He would save it and then leave, wait for them to rebuild, and then come attack again.
If I'm gonna build this city, I'm gonna do it right.
Yeah, if he's gonna build the city, the blood's gonna be on his hands, not someone else's. That's too easy.
You know
That
what?
way
That's
he
fair.
can
That's
sleep
in character.
well.
That's true. How is he gonna sleep at night knowing that he wasn't the one that killed all those people?
Exactly.
But
Well, and how is he going to survive the allegations of copying and pasting? Because we are not mentioning here that the
He has
Eggman
a
arrives
second
in
carrier.
the Egg Carrier 2, which he says was built for just this scenario. What are you talking about?
Well, so according to our own headcanon, he bought the egg carrier. He didn't build it. So that means he bought a second one. That's like going to the fucking car
he went to the
dealership.
egg carrier dealership.
Yo, I'm gonna buy that Kia Soul and throw in another one.
this is why Eggman is in such horrible debt. He doesn't have
Yeah,
any
fair.
sense of smart spending. He ruins the first egg carrier, and
He's
instead of waiting, he
I've
immediately
got
goes and
number two,
applies for
bitch.
more credit, maxes it out instantly, and
Maxes
then
all his credit cards.
Eggman saw all those like young generational wealth people and was like, "Oh, I can do that," but he couldn't.
Yep, not
And-
when you decide
He
that.
forgot the two of the main words in there: young and wealth.
This is amazing because one of my notes here is, why didn't they just have him repair the first egg carrier? That would have been what made sense, right?
That wouldn't be funny. And what's better than funny?
Well, and what's hilarious is that if we're talking about it like it's him buying a car, then it becomes one of those scenarios where it's like, well, you could pay to repair it, but it would actually be cheaper to just buy a new car.
No.
Oh,
Well,
true.
the egg carrier is manufactured by John Deere.
Oh wait, Eggman clearly owns his own insurance company, so he just totaled the egg carrier and bought a new one.
Sucks that Eggman is his only client, though.
I
Eggman
mean, that's
did
how you make the
say-
money. Make sure you have one high-paying client.
Eggman did say that the egg carrier paled in comparison to the power of chaos, so he knew how this was going to end up. Maybe this was actually insurance fraud.
But
Jesus Christ.
is it two simultaneous cases of insurance fraud? Did he do it twice in a row? Because the thing is, Chaos destroys the second one in one
He
blast.
does. He does. Well, I don't think Eggman was thinking very far ahead.
I don't think Eggman stopped at 2 cases of insurance fraud in a row. He probably like took out.
He probably
like-
had a few egg carriers on hand.
We're just
and,
gonna keep
like,
finding
who knows
more and
how many
more
of the
destroyed.
buildings he had insurance for. Like,
You know what? He actually
Well,
probably
true.
did own at least probably the casino.
right? So like, he destroyed the
so-
casino for more insurance money. Like, who knows what else with his?
So that's how he makes his money. It's not casinos and it's not kidnapping. He makes his money through insurance fraud
And probably tax evasion.
and tax evasion.
Amazing.
But yes, all those amazing revelations aside, this is one of the more memorable and hilarious moments. Yes, as Devin, you mentioned that the Chaos just shoots a giant laser and blows up the second egg carrier that he just had in his pocket. It's
I mean,
amazing.
makes sense.
See, and I still do wish that he had just repaired the first one, because then you could imply that when Chaos blows it up, it crash lands in the exact same place it was crashed before.
Yeah, that would be funny.
Yeah.
But
That
yes,
spot just has like a gravitational pull that just like attracts egg carriers.
Chaos also just spits up all of the emeralds, because I'm not sure why, and Tikal tells us... Tikal tells us that he's filled with rage and absorbed the hateful, negative energy of the Chaos Emeralds, whatever the hell that means.
Friendship, something.
Yeah,
Sonic Adventure GT.
God. But we finally have Sonic verbally spell out the theme of the game, because Tikal's like, we need to reseal him inside the Master Emerald, and Sonic's like, no, that's not gonna work. He's just gonna be trapped forever being angry and a dipshit. We need to actually cool him off and get him to stop raging. So everybody picks up the emeralds and tosses them to Sonic, and using the positive energy, he's gonna go supersonic and neutralize him, which the emeralds, when they're all conked out, are like gray. So I guess color is part of the negative energy.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
It's just a visual clue for the viewers.
Nope, it's definitely a canon thing with a bunch of deep lore.
Definitely.
Of course.
Speaking of deepness, I find it kind of almost jarring because throughout most of this game, Sonic is just doing his usual thing. It's like, oh, it's Eggman. I'm gonna go blow up his stuff. It's just weird that here, when Tikal is like, oh, we gotta seal this giant water gun, and he's like, no, but they're mad. We have to calm their soul. Like, wow, Sonic, where'd you get that from?
It's certainly not something that Sonic has said to us at some other point in the game, but a lot of Sonic fans nowadays like to get mad when Sonic doesn't kill people, so it's like, I like to have this moment to point to, at least.
Why would Sonic just murk a fucker?
Well, I mean, evil people, but still.
That's never been part of Sonic's character.
Yeah, first of all, that's just those people are just ridiculous. But second of all, I always thought that that Sonic has the opposite problem of, well, no, the same problem as Eggman, but for opposite reasons. Eggman will never just take the easy solution and just win, because he totally could have just won, but he didn't, because that wouldn't be fun. Sonic is too principled to just take out Eggman for good, and also I think secretly he enjoys it. and he wouldn't really want Eggman to be defeated for good. Certainly, this becomes evident in other Sonic media that we've covered. He seems allergic to actually taking out Eggman. So yeah, no, he wouldn't kill someone.
Certainly, if we do go with Sega's claims that like, oh, nobody ever like dies unless we say so, then it makes Eggman not look as bad, and it makes it not look as bad that Sonic wouldn't like try to kill him. But in any case, I guess Sonic's principles get results here, but only after the final boss, Perfect Chaos.
Before we talk about the fight, let me just say, when Open Your Heart starts playing, man,
that is true. Open Your Heart is a great theme, and it really gets you going.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Makes it a shame that they use that for the first phase of this fight, and then the second fight they use a perfectly generic dramatic track.
Just play Open Your Heart the whole time. It would have been perfect.
I mean, I ended up doing that on YouTube.
I would like that. I don't know if they had a way to make it not restart between the two, which it probably would, since it's a different map technically.
I was saying the designers just should have done that.
Yes, so this fight, you do it as Super Sonic, who is kind of like normal Sonic, but he doesn't have a spin dash, and his air acceleration is cranked all the way to Crazy Land.
Yeah, he ends up being a little janky feeling.
Your entire goal is to go so fast and run into chaos that you fly all the way up into his brain and smack him.
I love the fact that we are literally
that's the best way
just,
to calm someone down.
Brain.
Well, it is literally what you do.
Yeah,
nothing is more relaxing than getting punched in the brain. Repeatedly at the highest speed possible.
Yeah, Super Sonic is probably going close to fucking light speed.
So I don't hear a lot of negativity coming up, so I'm going to put my positivity in first.
Yeah,
what we need
out
to
there
defeat
first.
Chaos. I personally love this fight. I think it's great that, you know, this fight is all about going fast. Like, whoa, what a concept in a Sonic game. Literally, you just have to maintain speed. That's the name of the game. If you can do that, you win. There's
also known
nothing
as
fancy.
keep jumping.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that about the first half. Because the first half is fun. It's great. I enjoyed it because the game actually worked.
And
yeah, Lord, I think when the game works, you are right.
Yeah,
that is a big win.
Functioning.
Oh, okay, I see.
Second phase, I had the camera glitch, so I suddenly got a side-scrolling view like 7 times, which completely kills all my momentum.
Heck?
It is so incredibly janky.
I wish I'd gotten clips of that. I didn't think about it until after I'd actually finished the fight.
Players who have done the game, they've seen it. They know it happens.
I could not figure out what was triggering it either.
Well, and even without that, the second phase, Chaos is so much more aggressive. He throws so many more things that push you back.
Yeah, I found for the first hit, you basically have to ignore all rings and just go for the hit, and then maybe if you're lucky, do that on the second one, and then go for collecting rings.
Especially since they don't respawn between phases.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be easy, although I certainly don't think they intended the camera to get in your way. That's never happened to me. That's crazy, and I get it.
It's such a weird glitch, and I guess also I had multiple points where Perfect Chaos would shoot me through a wall.
Yes.
And then also in the second phase, where he hits you with one of his orange blasts, and then repeatedly hits you again and again and again and again.
Oh, the stun lock is terrible.
Yeah. Like, I love the first
fighting game
phase.
Experience.
The first phase is great. I was able to get that down to, like, 35 seconds. That second phase, though, was torture. I actually had to stop after trying it for, like, an hour, because I was getting so frustrated.
They should have given you the instantaneous, like, light dash, because if you could light dash along trails of rings in this stage...
Yes, that would have been so much nicer.
It would fix so many problems.
It really would.
Or create new ones.
It would probably create new ones, but it would at least be even faster. That would be a potential way to gain back momentum if you suddenly lost all of it by the camera suddenly changing angles.
For example.
I mean, I think if the game just works...
If the game worked, it would be a much more fun fight. It would be a much more fun fight if the game fully worked, which it does about 70% of the time.
Man, that's a shame.
It's a cool fight.
If things don't work as they're supposed to, they're not fun. That totally makes sense. I've never
big brain thought.
I've never had any problems with this boss fight. I guess I'm lucky.
It's interesting because I've watched people do this fight as well, and they do it perfectly fine. And then I go and do it, and it's like, oh, it's hell.
Yeah, it was definitely in like the top half of jankiest parts of the game for me.
Here's a question: how does punching Chaos multiple times in the brain make him docile?
Would punching you multiple times in the brain make you docile?
I think it might make me dead.
Is that not
you can't resist if you're dead?
Well, this is the story trope. You see this in a lot of things. Oh, I'm gonna go kill you or something. Oh no, you won't. Let me not if I beat you up. And then when they're on like the edge of death, they realize, oh wait a minute, I don't actually want to kill you, and then everything's good. It's just that thing. It's
and then
very
they
strange.
Don't die?
But it's not at all exclusive to this. If I might add a little bit more logic to this, Chaos absorbed the negative energy of the Chaos Emeralds, right, and obtained their perfect form.
Oh, so Sonic beats the evil out of him.
Yes.
Sonic beats the evil out of Chaos.
I mean, that sounds cheesy, but it makes a little more sense when you think about it.
I think that's exactly how Kayla described it as well.
Okay, so the YouTube dude bro with the shitty Steven Universe hot takes is still wrong. Good. What we've learned from this fight is that as much jank as there can be, you can always punch people you disagree with until they agree with you.
Punch their brain.
Yeah.
Specifically their brain.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta get that fist inside their head.
But Chaos is defeated. He goes back to his original form, and he commiserates with Tikal, who is like, hey, look, here's the Chow, and because you protected them, their species survived, or whatever.
Yeah, the onions are still alive.
Thank God.
Congratulations, Chaos.
So we need to talk about Tails. Tails' line here in the English version is "All's well that ends well," right?
Ah, yes.
Tails, the city is fucking destroyed.
Yeah, that's what I would do when the city's destroyed. I'd just be like, yeah, it ended okay.
And people definitely died.
That line would lend credence to the idea that people didn't die if all that happened was that a city got destroyed. That's still terrible, but if people didn't die, then that would be good.
And they're like all just mass murderers.
In the Japanese version, Tails says, "What a relief it's finally over," which makes
a lot more sense.
Well, in either version of the game, in response, Sonic is just like, "I'm out of here."
And Sonic just dips.
Well, what is he supposed to do?
I don't know, stick around and help?
Sonic's not a carpenter, he can't build buildings.
No, but he could probably help find people. He's fast.
Yeah,
well, if we take Sega's explanation that everyone evacuated, he doesn't need to.
Devin, I really doubt everyone evacuated.
But yes, Sonic goes running after Eggman for the next adventure, thus concluding the biggest Sonic game in the series thus far.
Yeah, that's true. I hadn't thought about that.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
On the last story, I like hearing the full version of Open Your Heart at the end.
Yeah.
I kind of wish it was just during the boss fight. Like, I get that in the other themes, they're a little more toned down for the cutscenes, so they don't distract. Makes sense. But here, especially if they did it throughout all the phases, I think it could have worked. But, it's a good reward either if they do it this way, I suppose.
Yeah.
Other Sonic games would have a softer piece, play for the credits, that was not the final boss theme, so I think they just got better with time.
Yeah. Second is that this ending image is the most adorable thing ever.
I love Tikal and Chaos, they're so cute.
That is a cute ending image.
But, those aside,
closing thoughts.
Yeah.
So, it is 2023. I am going to turn 24 years old in about a little more than a week. And playing this game almost 2 decades after I first bought it is weird, because I never really stopped playing this game. Whether it's trying to get cool Chow or unlock the Game Gear games, get every emblem, every mission, or mess around with mods, I've been playing and replaying this thing my whole life. And it's crazy how much I remember and how much I've forgotten, and how different the game looks to other people.
I mentioned this off the podcast. I don't think I mentioned it in the other episodes after Sonic Story, because in Sonic Story, I got a little retrospective. As I said, it felt almost like it was a full game in of itself. and then there were
Yeah.
5 other stories. But thinking back, I don't know if I felt a little wrapped up in what other people are saying, and everyone makes fair points. Everyone's perspective is valid here, but yeah, I felt like maybe I overstated the negative points. Overall, I mean, this game is far from perfect. It's good to point those things out, but if you give it a chance, there's a gem underneath, as they say. Um, it's like, well, I did mention that I had to really give this game a chance. When you first showed it to me, I was not captured by it, but when I actually put in the effort, it became quite enjoyable. I guess, if you get past the jank, or you just are lucky and it never happens, there's a lot of good stuff here. But it's not as if there isn't jank, and I understand if that does turn some people away. I mean, time is limited. If you don't think it's worth it, then fair enough. There's lots of other Sonic games and other games to enjoy.
This was my first full experience with the game because, Devin, we played through Sonic's story, God, probably like close to a decade ago.
Middle school, probably?
Or either middle school or early high school. We played through it on the 360. It was, I remembered enjoying Sonic's story, but I never played anything beyond that. I don't know why. I probably should have. But coming back to it now, I was surprised by the fact that I remembered most of a good chunk of Sonic's story. And I was surprised by how much I enjoyed most of the other stories. Most because I'd always heard people complaining about the Knuckles scavenger hunts. I think those are most of those complaints are on Adventure 2.
I would imagine so.
But I've still heard people then retroactively complain about them in Adventure 1 as well, which I don't understand. I think they were mostly fine. And it's a good showing as a first 3D game overall, but it's not without that classic. I guess it's the classic 3D Sonic jank, but it's kind of understandable being the first 3D Sonic or first true full 3D Sonic, because we don't talk about Sonic 3D Ass Blast.
It was definitely sort of meant to show off what they could do, and some of that stuff wasn't worth doing.
Right. It was.
So it doesn't really count as 3D.
No, but some semantics bastard out there will try and claim it does. I think it's a good showing for the power of the Dreamcast, and I think it does a good job of translating Sonic into 3D.
Yeah, I think
it's good. It could be a lot better, but I think, as Lauren said, there's a diamond in the rough there.
I think overall my closing thoughts on the game are, I'm glad this game exists. I'm looking forward to not playing it again anytime soon.
Yeah, I think I can agree with that also.
That's fair. Well, certainly whenever I come back to this game, it's never to play it through the whole way. It's just to play some of the stages I like, or do stuff with Chow.
Sure. Yeah, a lot of the stage design in this game, had really good highs, and I think this game was incredible for its time, but I think its age shows drastically.
Yeah, it's very much a situation where I think I could see myself going back and playing Sonic's story.
But not a lot of the others, yeah.
Yeah, probably not the others. I wouldn't bother, or like...
I'd replay Sonic, and I'd replay Gammas, and that's it. I would replay Sonic, and I'd replay Gammas.
I'd maybe do Gammas again. I'd probably, or maybe download a fully completed save file and try Perfect Chaos again, see if it's still as janky.
That's the thing that I have loved, is that I have loved seeing the ways that modders have taken this game and enhanced it. And that's the thing, is that in all of these videos I've been putting my mod list in the description, and I do think that that's, so much of that is restoring what was already there and fixing problems which were already there. I think that they could really stand to give this game another shot. With Sonic Origins Plus coming out, and various Sonic re-releases, I really think not a full-on remake of this game would be warranted, but to dip back into it and restore a lot of its functionalities, make it less jank, make it less repetitive. Like we were saying, add a mini-map, and it's so much better.
Yeah, I think maybe something like the recent Night Dive Studios remake of Quake, or any of their Turok remakes as well, where let's take this old game that doesn't run all that well on modern PCs without some finagling, and let's fix it up. Make it look nicer, or look a little nicer, but still in line with how it originally looked.
Yeah.
Up the resolution so you're not stuck playing it in 800 by 600.
You're saying this, and all I can think of is Sonic Adventure RTX.
I mean,
no.
I did actually go looking for that to fight Perfect Chaos. I didn't find anything in specific, unfortunately. But I think remaster, more like, really?
Yeah. But like a real remaster, not like a Last of Us PC.
Right, not like Last of Us PC, or, I mean, let's be honest here, DX was kind of also a remaster.
I was going to mention... I was going to mention, yeah. But, yeah, it's interesting, yeah. Playing only portions of this, using different mods to enhance it. It's interesting, the ways you can sort of try to make the experience more enjoyable. I will say, I had a blast 100% in this game.
That's right, you've 100%
For
the game.
people who are inclined to 100% games, I think this is a joy. Some games are a real slog. It's not like this game isn't a slog at times. I'm looking at you big purple cat. But
Don't make him angry.
don't. It's true.
Don't anger the purple cat.
He has
I
a
must
plane
not
and he's not afraid to use it.
I must not speak his name. But much of it is very satisfying. Like, the jank, but it's crazy how when you're trying to match certain times in the stages, then it actually just becomes another obstacle to master. You just have to figure out how the game is just kind of funky and work around it. And suddenly, it's no longer a hindrance. It's just another part to master.
The
It's very
bugs are part of the
interesting how
meta.
that works. Yeah. I enjoyed playing through it the first time. I enjoyed it a lot more 100%ing it, actually. Of course, you do have to be the kind of person inclined to put in those sort of hours, but I would recommend that, and I think that made the game better for me.
You also need a tolerance for
Interesting.
awful snowboard missions, but yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, mission mode is actually just bad. I would have skipped that if I wasn't, being a completionist.
Maybe do all of the extra emblems for each stage, and then just download a save file if you want to play as Metal Sonic.
Right.
Anyway, so that is Sonic Adventure, everybody. I hope you all really enjoyed this playthrough. It's a very different format to what we previously did, where we crammed 5 Game Gear games into one video. That was a bad
God
move.
help us.
We're never going to do that again.
Well, we're never playing Game Gear games again anyway, so thank God for that.
But we will have another 8-bit game, not next time, or maybe it is next time? I don't know. I think we're talking about Sonic Shuffle next. But after that, we're going to talk about Sonic Pocket Adventure, the first 2D Sonic game in several episodes.
Wow, that's so weird. I would think that after, they moved to 3D, they would just ditch 2D Sonic. I mean, who cares about 2D Sonic games? Of course. No one in the world would hate 2D Sonic games.
So that's your cue.
I'm cueing you.
I'm just here. I mean, like, they're not my thing.
Sid, we had this whole bit drafted where
I was trying to help you along.
I'm spacing out.
we had this whole bit drafted where Sid was going to complain about 2D Sonic, and since he's not in some of these episodes, I banish him to the Shadow Realm. But now, apparently, I'm banishing him to the Shadow Realm for missing his cue. Good job on the skid, asshole.
I'll fight you.
No,
The
you're
Shadow
gone.
Realm, fucker.
Anyway, I'm interested to see what Sonic Pocket Adventure is all about.
Yeah, and then we'll do
It's
Shuffle and
certainly,
Adventure 2.
It's certainly a adventure in your pocket.
With that nonsense conclusion all sorted out, thank you all so much for watching. We really enjoyed this playthrough, and I hope that you guys enjoyed it with us. And if you did, you can share, comment, like, and subscribe. I really do value fan interaction. It's one of my favorite things about running this. And if you have any questions, comments, criticism, or feedback of any sort, you can reach us at any of the resources shown on screen. With all that said, thank you so much for watching. It's been a great time, honestly. We will see you next Sunday. Have a great night, and take care.